Welcome back. It's the long awaited, long anticipated, your favorite day of the week, Wednesday, your favorite show to listen to or watch via YouTube, the Childish Grownups Show. We talk all things nostalgia, particularly focusing in on film. I am one of the hosts, Maurice Hunter III. Y'all might know me as Mo from other podcasts, but I'm not alone. I'm also here with both my wonderful co-hosts this week, Mia G, Ash Bash. Ladies, how y'all feeling?
Feeling good.
I'm good as well. Excited.
Good. It feels like forever since we have recorded. Goodness gracious. Uh, but we are back. I know how life is going to work. Life sometimes. But we are here nonetheless, and we're talking about a great film, a fun film. So hopefully y'all really got y'all popcorn prepared for real in this movie theater experience that we're preparing for y'all, so y'all can get y'all laugh on, because I know for sure we're going to be getting our laugh on. Before we get into it, one thing. So I left on our IG. For those that follow IG, y'all see why there wasn't a TGIF episode. For those that only watch or listen, I did record the episode, but somewhere down the line, my microphone detached, and then it started recording off of my computer screen, and it sounded terrible. And you could hear everything now. At that point, you can hear my son crying. You can hear all the background. It was bad. So I just, as a creative, didn't feel comfortable putting it out for the sake of deadline usage. I was thinking about maybe posting the list each of us had, but I felt like our personalities wouldn't have shined just posting the list. So I just, unfortunately, it's one of those hidden gems. Maybe someday, I thought about even still recording it separately, just throwing it out, and maybe I still will at some point. But yeah, I didn't put it out, so it is what it is. But y'all back now, rocking with us. So we only had one thing to acknowledge, one of the Stoop kids, I believe, because I think I read it on that episode, but kind of missed that. So now that we're here, we got one comment from our Enough review, our last movie reviewed in our Mother May I month, moving into our Father Knows Best month. And it's from Public Enemy B. And he says, Mia said, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. About them line dances. LOL.
Oh. And it came in handy. I was in a wedding.
Uh-oh.
Okay. And what do you know? Reception comes. Who knows the line dance is me?
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm ready. I've been practicing. Front and center, teaching the young folk. Y'all gotta come on.
I can tell that you've been practicing. All right. Don't act like you don't like that song. Stop playing. Look at it.
It's all right.
Look at it. Try to hold. Hey, it's all right. You can come off that side of the. Come on. Yeah.
Listen, the fact that she knows is even better.
That's enough. Yeah, you're right. That. Oh man, but shout out to Public Enemy B, y'all. Y'all
acknowledgement, you know what I'm saying? That's all we need.
Yeah, we need acknowledgement. If I got it, then tell me I got it then. Shout out to all of the Stoop kids. Y'all can reach out, childishgrownups3@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Instagram, childishgrownups_podcast. And then just leave a comment on YouTube or leave an Apple review. That would be greatly help us. If y'all feel like this is one of the best, not only film review podcasts, but best nostalgic podcast, please acknowledge that. Throw that in there. That'll help get views and ears onto this podcast that we do. So please, it's something y'all can do that don't cost you anything to support. So thank y'all. Y'all know where to get at us at. All right. We had enough time off, so I'm hoping that we all got a childish grown-up moment. So Ash, I'm gonna throw the ball in your court first. What's happening? You got a childish grown-up moment?
I do. So it's simple, but still childish. I made some homemade nachos, man. Just another night, watching movies and TV shows, playing a game, karaoke, everything. But made some nachos, had some Tostitos. Shout out to the Cop and a Half episode on the Tostito. So yeah, had some Tostitos. and had some cheese. Got the Tostito cheese, the real deal,
Got it.
no
Yeah, got it.
generics.
Yeah, no, we can't do no
And
generic queso.
got the real queso, poured it on it. And I'm not really a nacho, like, I'm a taco salad girl, so I like to have the meat, all the fixings and toppings. So I'm never really doing just cheese and chips. But I was like, just do the cheese and chips. And then I threw a little bit of jalapenos on there, and it just took me back to going to the movies, man. Like everybody wanted to get the nachos, even though it was the wackest setup
Oh
because
man,
your chips are standing up, and then you have that cheese in the
a little
the little
small.
holder
Yeah,
on the same. It was a terrible setup, but because
yeah.
you need that cheese.
Where were the scoops at when we needed them then, huh?
Exactly. Like, why am I taking this super circular chip, trying to break it just to get some cheese on the side, right? But
I
I got
love movie
excited.
theater nachos.
What would you
Like,
say?
I love movie theater nachos.
hey
Hey,
man,
yeah, I
classic.
just the excitement of seeing like the liquid just come out of the machine is just you just watching it. You're like, oh yeah, that's great.
But I
Okay.
prefer like the movie theater that I frequent. One of them, they give you the little warmed up little side of queso. They don't like pour it over.
See,
Just
that's better. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still better, yeah. Because back then,
Mm.
remember it was all in that same
That little
holder.
cup,
It's
yeah. You
like,
got all the chips over here in a small cup, and you definitely ate all the cheese, and you just eating plain tortilla chips at this point, bruh.
um, so yeah, that's it. It just took me back, man. That was a wave.
Mm.
Nachos at the movie theater was everything growing up. And so yeah, that's my childish grown up moment, man.
All right, all right. You ain't had no salsa on the side either.
I have salsa, but no, I just wanted to do the cheese and chips, you know what I'm saying,
Okay.
with a little bit of jalapeno on it.
All right, all right.
Mhm.
Me and G.
so I have one from a couple days ago, but it's really something that I've already told you guys that I've done before and I just did it again. So I went to the store and bought myself some candy
Mhm.
and like hid the bag on my way into the house and like snuck it up to my room and hid it in one of my drawers so that my kids didn't know that I had it.
What kind of candy? Was it the same
You
candy,
know,
different candy? What?
No, so okay, stay with me. I bought some little mini Butterfingers. I've been told I was crazy for liking Butterfingers.
Nah,
And
yeah, we stand with you on that. Like I don't know what people talking about.
aren't they good? And
Mm-hmm.
I bought some of the all berry flavored Trolley gummy worms.
Oh, berry flavored
oh,
trolleys.
them in the
Okay,
game.
okay. I'm not mad. Yeah, got a little chocolate, a little fruity. Perfect. I dig. All right,
Mm.
all right. Well, we've been in this household. We've been busting down them scores, man. Been busting them
Ooh,
scores down straight out the freezer, dude.
hey,
Hold them a good.
scores low key.
Hey, you gotta get you some. If it's been a while, Ash, go on get you some of them. That toffee. Ooh, yeah,
I love, you know me.
yeah. You was you educated us. You said, nah, don't get the Heath bar. Get the scores.
Yeah, if you want more toffee,
Mm-hmm.
go with the score. If you want more chocolate, go with the Heath, and it's a little thicker too.
Yeah, 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 for sure. You definitely changed the game with that.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so my childish grown up moment happened a couple of days ago. I was folding laundry and I was trying to find something to watch, and I can't. I thought I had put it on my list at some point. I'm almost thought I may have started it, but I didn't. I went to the Friends reunion show.
Hmm.
Are y'all familiar that they have a reunion? Okay.
No.
Oh man, listen to me. So y'all remember the Martin reunion came out a few years ago. The Fresh Prince Bel Air reunion came out a few years ago.
I remember that very well.
Okay. So listen to me when I tell you. This Friends reunion is by far, so right now they are the best reunion because they had the set. I mean, similar like Martin and Fresh Prince, they had the set, but they like the way when they seen each other, and this is when I can't remember the actor's name that played Chandler.
Matthew.
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry.
Matthew
Oh,
Perry was still alive because they were waiting on each other and they like just hugging and getting emotional. And they're sitting on the set, and then they're in the set. They're going through all of the motions of like, and then they're doing like it's so many different cuts. So they're doing line readings at some scenes, and then they're clipping in like the original scene. Then they were actually interviewed in front of the front where they shoot the actual intro of the show. They were sitting on the couch where the waterfall is. So like the whole aesthetic was like, oh, like, and then they did like there was one clip they was doing the game. You remember when Ross was reading the cards and it was the girls versus the boys or whatever. And so they tied that in at this current age, and like it was so good. Oh man, bro, y'all,
Wow.
it's on Max or HBO Max, whatever name they chose at this very point of recording. Y'all gotta watch this. Like it made me come back to that love for Friends, because over the years they've gotten a lot of slack for lack of representation as far as people of color, and that is a thing. But watching this just kind of brought it back to a point where it's like this is what we watched when we didn't have cable. You know what I mean? We had those basic channels, and Friends, it was so colorful, it was so romantic, so funny, so the clips they even brought up was like I was genuinely laughing at some of the clips from the show. I was like, dang, I ain't watched this in so long. It was a scene where it was Chandler, Ross, and Rachel, and they were taking this couch upstairs, and Ross kept saying, "Pivot, pivot, pivot," and bruh, it was so funny, bruh. Like I was genuinely laughing. I said, "Dang, I forgot." Like they did that, so it brought back all of the feelings, and I was just smiling, and I didn't get teary eyed. It wasn't emotional for me, but it was definitely like I felt that heartwarming feeling. I was like, "Dang, they really could do a reboot if they wanted." The way they did it, I said, "Oh, if they wanted to, they're not going to, but if they wanted to, they could." Like so. Shout out to Living Single, of course. I always got to say in the same breath, and I've been listening to that pod, but that Friends reunion was well thought out, and it's made me kind of, and we'll move on, but it made me kind of a little more bothered with like what we got with the Martin reunion, because I think the concept was there with the Nipseys in the living room, but again, it's this thing where like because of Martin's health conditions, he feels he don't feel like the same Martin we grew up with, and that's always a challenge. But now with the recent Bad Boys he did, I said, yo, whatever he did to get that type of energy, give us that. You know what I mean? Even if it's for a small window, like, because he was turned up on Bad Boys 4. We need that from Martin, because that's how we look at you. That's the trajectory we looked at. And so the reunion, we didn't quite get that type of energy, but definitely wanted that. But it was good to see Matthew Perry, but you could definitely tell he wasn't fully himself. You know what I mean? Like you could see, he remembered the things, but you could tell he was like, still kind of going through some things. But yeah, if y'all ain't checked it out, man, go check out that Friends reunion on HBO Max. It's fire. Man,
I would love it. I just didn't watch. Maybe I need to go back and like rewatch Friends from
okay.
because
Yeah.
I wasn't like I watched it kind of in passing, but I never was like an avid Friends watcher who would know like plot lines and things like that.
The crazy thing, I feel like this is your bag. Like the way your personality is, and like the sitcoms you brought up, I totally see you liking this. Like that's the craziest part about it. I can totally see you like being like, once it starts building up, like, okay, this is a vibe. Like I like these sets, I like the stories, I like the funny. I feel like you would totally like it, honestly.
Perhaps.
And it's not Seinfeld, because we get that comparison of battle all the time. Like Seinfeld is way better than Friends. And I'm like, y'all, they're not even really the same show.
The thing that I get it compared to a lot I've heard is like Living Single, that it borrowed a lot from Living Single. And it's not that I have a side eye for it, not a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't want to watch it and then I'm like thinking the whole time, like, they got that from Living Single. Ugh,
see, that's what got me. Like that's why I kind of fell back on Friends for a grip, because of that. I'm like, that ain't cool. But going back, I said, yeah, okay, there's that, but I said they're still not the same show. And there's a thing that I always say this. There's a thing that white people, for us that are people of color, black, and whatever, outside of white, they have a little bit more freedom in um kind of like no cultural non-cultural story, kind of like where it doesn't have to be so rooted in it's just believable. Like according to us watching it, because we're not white, I believe anything y'all would do like this. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where they kind of get the liberty to go anywhere with it. You know what I mean? And so when I watch Friends, I see, you know, of course, like I know Living Single originally, that was in their list of names. Friends was one of them, but and then Friends, of course, they got way more like promotion opportunity, like all that exists. But when you set aside all that, we're just looking at the product. They're not the same product, and it's still a very enjoyable show when you take all those factors out. That's all I'm saying. So,
Okay.
but if you do, definitely hit us in the chat. If you do, you know,
I might give it a shot.
okay. Yes, I wouldn't even start from the beginning. Just throw on a random whatever season, just because I don't feel like the first episode you need to lock into the story yet. But that'd be interesting, y'all. If Mig G hits us back, we'll give y'all a report on that. Who knows? But Ashley still got to watch a different world, so we all got a little something to watch.
Ash.
Sex of the City or whatever. But speaking of Ash, y'all know what time it is. Give it to him.
I'm going to watch it, okay? I'm going to do Sex and the City first.
Yes.
I think I'm going to do that first.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly different world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's time for the Flash with Ash. I have some trivia for y'all today. First one is coming from Keenan and Kel. What was the name of the new employee at the store that Keenan worked at?
Oh,
Nina, Charla, Kyra, Tina, or Margaret?
I'm going Kyra. I'm going Kyra. It's hard because I feel like that sounds like his sister's name.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, it sounds like.
No, I can't. Do y'all remember who it is? Like
I
the
remember
person
her.
that
Yeah, I
played
definitely
her?
know. Yeah, she was one of them ones.
I don't
yeah.
remember.
Kim, her sister from Living Single. What's her name?
Kim Fields.
Who played Regine? You know.
Yeah, Kim Fields.
Right. Yeah, her sister played her.
Okay, her little sister.
She playing a lot
If
of
that helps,
black classics. Now, I know.
Yeah.
Give me the names one more time before we make our decision.
Nina, Charla, Kyra, Tina, Margaret.
I'm gonna go with Charla.
I think I'm going Charla. The Arla part sounds familiar to me.
Okay, that's correct.
Woo!
It's Charla.
Man, last minute substitute. And shout out to Big G.
Hey, you changed at the last minute. Look.
Kyra's the sister then for sure. Then. Okay. All right.
Yes. All right. This should be simple enough, right? We're going to cat dog, okay? And there's no multiple choice.
Mama's
all right, this
gonna
is
love
if
this.
you know.
She's a cat dog fan.
This is if you know, you know, okay? What color? What color is dog's nose?
I thought it was like a burgundy red.
I was gonna say red. Like, because I think cat was brown and dog was red.
Final answer?
It's like give it at a black, but I'm going. I'm definitely going that way. Yeah.
No. His nose is purple.
Purple.
Purple. Let me take a look at this
Purple.
joint.
I said, what? Go ahead and look it up. I know you want to get the image.
It is
Dog's
purple.
nose was purple.
Wow.
What?
Oh, cat's nose is like the red. Oh,
I'm tripping.
Dang.
That's so crazy because I literally just sent my mom. You know how like on Instagram they're doing the AI realistic version of every cartoon and they look really creepy and gross. There was one of Cat Dog and I sent it to my mom. I was like, this is like it's just, they did one for Hey Arnold. It was like, oh.
You think
These
it's
look
creepy?
so awful, huh?
Sent bro, I sent bro a SpongeBob one, and he was like marrying Sandy. She was pregnant.
Oh, that was like a
Remember you
whole
said it was
vibe.
wild, bro? I could have said that to you.
Yeah, send that to me. Like that's a whole. It was a vibe though. Like it definitely.
They did one for Doug, and it was like,
It was,
people look gross.
Dang, I can't believe I purple. It ain't even
yeah,
cross. I
I
threw it in the
gotta
chat
send
for the record
that
too.
to you, man. Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, so y'all 1 for 2 so far. Let's
Okay.
see how y'all land. This is from The Simpsons. Okay. Where does Homer work? He's unemployed, Barney's Ballarma, the Springfield Nuclear Power Plant, the Putt Putt Golf Course. Where does he work?
He work at the Springfield nuclear
The
plant.
power plant.
Yeah.
Okay. That's yours too, Mia?
Yep, the power plant for Mr. Burns.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Come on now. That's our image stake right there. You
Well,
know.
Homer and Marge
Yeah, I
raised
had to throw that in for that.
Yeah. What you say, Mia?
What?
Homer and Marge raised us.
Absolutely. All of that dirty comedy.
What is Homer doing working at a power plant?
I don't know. That's like
Nuclear at that.
that's the comedy in it.
Like, yeah,
That's the comedy in it though. Is
it's
Simpsons
crazy
worth
work.
running? Is Simpsons worth running back? Is that something on our
I'm
nostalgic?
definitely, this just made me want to go back and watch.
Just
Like,
like an episode or two, like just on some like late night.
I need to see an episode with with Mr. Burns and his little henchman who always,
What
whose name I just can't remember.
was it? Withers, Smithers,
Smithers.
Smithers, Smithers. Oh man, that's good stuff.
But yeah, so y'all got 2 out of 3, and that is it for the flash for that.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Ash. Shout out to you for that. Just bringing us back in the game. You know, we didn't hit the video games up real quick. Got the trivia going, but now it is that time. So, Mia G, that machine over there, that special machine, pull that lever back and take us back to the 90s one time for the one time.
Okay, we are going back to 1997 to talk about the Jim Carrey film Liar Liar.
Mm-hmm.
Quick synopsis: a pathological liar lawyer finds his career turned upside down when he inexplicably cannot physically lie for 24 whole hours. Notable cast, we have Jim Carrey as Fletcher Reed, Maura Tierney as Audrey Reed, Justin Cooper as Max Reed, I am gonna butcher his last name. I think it's Carrie Elwes as Jerry. And that's crazy because I love him. He's in one of my favorite movies. Anne Haney as Greta, Jennifer Tilly as Samantha Cole, Amanda Donahoe as Miranda, Jason Bernard as Dana Appleton, and Mitchell Ryan as Mr. Allen. This movie was released March 21st, 1997. I don't believe there were any toys, but there was a lot of promotion.
Mm. Okay. Oh man. So this was Ash's pick this week for our first Father Knows Best month. So let's do a little bit of a rewind. I'm gonna go Ash first and Mia G, and then it'll be on me. So Ash, take us back a little bit. How do you remember this film as a kid? At this point, you were if this came out in 97, you were 5. Actually, you were 4 because your birthday hadn't even come up because this came out in March. So I mean, obviously, I don't think we watched it at that
Yeah.
time, but you know, movies used to float a little bit longer. But take us back a little bit. How you
Mhm.
remember this?
Oh, Jim Carrey, man. I just remember it being a staple in the house. again, I don't know what age I was where we really was getting into it, but this was another staple in our household. Jim Carrey is definitely goated for sure, a legend. And this is one of my favorite movies that he's in. Like, I just remember watching it with my brothers quite a bit and just thinking that Jim was insanely funny and the physical comedy that he was doing was just nuts in this movie. And like all the face, the body, like it was so much to talk about in this movie. But I just remember it being funny, not taking it so serious, just thought he was just a funny dude. And I remember watching it with the bros quite a bit. Um, I don't know when Ace Ventura and all that came out. I don't know because I know he had his whole little era. So I don't know if this came out before then or after that. But just being a fan of Jim, I just remember that and watching it this time. There was, my lens has shifted a little bit because obviously I'm a parent now and being an adult. So there were a few things that I saw. I'm like, oh, the setup was real. Like, okay, I see the setup here where y'all trying to take it. And of course, as a kid, I didn't see any of it. So it's kind of another one of those like Miss Doubtfire
Mm,
moments. Like, oh, I
mm-hmm,
see the other side of it.
mm.
So yeah.
The Ace Ventura films came out before this. It was 94 to
Oh,
95.
okay. See, we were already a fan then at that point.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
tracks.
Okay, Big G.
Oh man, I don't remember, of course, the first time I saw this film. I was probably, well, I was 6 when it came out. I know that we had it on VHS, and it was one of my faves for a minute. I used to get hyper fixated on films, and this is definitely one that I was hyper fixated on for a while, that I would watch over and over because it's also just another example of kids in the 90s. We used to watch like the movies were family friendly, kid friendly, but they were super
Oh
inappropriate.
yes.
Like, which is why millennials, we will always be different. I don't know. But we had like it was like, is this a kids movie or is
Mm.
it just a family movie? I don't know, but some of the humor is way out of pocket, but hilarious. And as a kid, we still found it super funny, even if we didn't understand necessarily all of you know, of course, my lens on this is way different now as a mother and an adult, but it's still such a good film. It's a Jim Carrey is crazy. Like he
Mhm.
well, is one of my forever faves. He's extremely animated, physical, and he really he puts it all on the line.
Mhm.
But even though there are things that I view differently, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I still enjoy it just as much. Like take it for what it is.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, I remember again. This is just one of those ones that when you start going into the lineup of some of your favorite actors, you have to acknowledge. Like I remember this movie. It's This movie is so rememberable that we created a new segment because of this movie. That's how much of remembers. I say I cannot do this film without bringing this in because there are some moments and some things that I was like, no, I need the verbatim. I need, that. So I remember this movie being funny. I remember just him being like the human cartoon. Like, this movie definitely brought me to, um, we had a discussion before about Adam Sandler versus Jim Carrey, and this movie kind of made it very clear for me that okay, Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I remember this was a staple. This was a classic film for us. We watched a lot. Like, I feel like this might have been even been at the daycare. Like, I feel like, but
Which is
revisionist
wild.
history. Because again, like I don't know. Now we look at stuff like you pick up the pieces, but like back then, like I don't know, we just was like, you know, we always had a little dirty humor kind of thrown in there. You know, give me a glass of milk, Steve, and give me some milk, Steve, in a dirty glass. That's that's what this movie is. You know, give me some milk in a dirty glass. That's
Oh,
hey,
man.
shout out to Cop and a Half, but
I love that y'all introduced me to that. That's good.
that's how I feel about Christmas Story. I'm like, yo, yeah. All right, so let's get into some discussion points here. So first thing I want to acknowledge before getting into like some of the like things I want to ask y'all. This film was shot on July 8th, from July 8th to October 16th in 1996 in LA. So I just thought this was very notable to bring up. We don't normally do this, but I felt like I needed to. It says in an interview, Jim Carrey said filming the film was very physically demanding on him because it was this constant suppression of angst, completely freaking out all the time. I would go home with total exhaustion. The script was rejected by numerous Hollywood studios until it was picked up by Brian Grazer and Imagine Entertainment. The role of Fletcher Reed was envisioned for Tom Hanks and Steve Martin. Hugh Grant was interested.
Wow.
Like, look, this crazy. Hugh Grant was interested in the role, but backed out due to the Divine Brown scandal. Cary Elwes got cast as Jerry for pure chance, and having previously worked with the director Tom Shadyac. So, what do y'all think about that? That whole quote from Jim.
That's interesting.
Wow. That. Go ahead,
Me and G.
Oh no, that's wild. Like I would have never thought, but the one thing that stood out to me is you said Steve Martin.
Steve Martin, Tom Hanks, yeah.
I could see Steve Martin doing Fletcher more so than I could see Tom Hanks doing it. Just from the comic demands of the, of the role. Like, don't get me wrong, love Tom Hanks down, but he's not like someone he's more of a straight man, you don't see him doing like a lot of comedy where it's meant to be funny.
Like intentional funny, yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of funny in more of a, happenstance way. But Steve Martin, let me make sure that I have the right actor.
Cheaper about a dozen.
Bringing down the house.
Yes. That's okay. I'm like, okay, I knew that's who it was. I could see him doing it because he did some funny physical comedy in all of the movies I've seen him in. Bringing Down the House, he did a lot of like funny comedy. So I could see him doing it more so, but I just really can't see anybody else but Jim Carrey making the film what it actually became.
Yeah. Ash, what you think?
Yeah, I agree. Everything Mia said. Steve Martin, I was gonna say that off top. I could see him. Definitely not Tom Hanks, and definitely not Hugh Grant. I don't think I've seen Hugh in anything like
definitely. I'm looking
physically.
at him now.
Like I haven't. Yeah, like no. So definitely couldn't see him, but Steve potentially, but not at the level that it required. As far as what Jim is saying right now, how he was going home exhausted. Like I don't see any actor putting that type of effort to make that what it was. Like that was amazing.
Yeah. Everything. I think like we're looking more of a straight man, and we're looking more. This movie, if you cast somebody else, we're looking more at the liar aspect. You know what I mean? We're looking more at the liar part, I feel, than we're looking at the comedic part with it. Like, because the comedic part is a character trait of his. Like, he's funny, but he's not necessarily meant to be funny as far as who his character is to his family. To us, he is, because that's, but I feel like he's just this charismatic attorney that lies a lot, a ton, habitual. But Yeah, so I think anybody else would have been a little bit less, and I think it is a different film. So I think what his gift is definitely displayed on the screen. I'm
So
gonna
I
start
will
with
say,
yeah.
I'm sorry, let me just interject.
No, you
There
good.
is one role that I saw Hugh Grant in that was almost like I could see that character transferring over to the character Fletcher. It wouldn't have been the same, but it would have worked. Have you ever seen the movie 2 Weeks Notice with Sandra Bullock?
I
Mm,
have.
I feel like that character reminded me of like what could transfer over to a Fletcher
hmm
Reed. It would have been different, of course, not like he's more of a deadpan dry comedy,
Yeah,
but I feel like it could have worked.
it could. It could. Next question I got. It just came to mind. Who would have done a better job? We can't see either actor in the opposite roles, but I'm interested to see who do y'all think would have did better? Adam Sandler on Liar Liar or Jim Carrey in Big Daddy? Go listen to our Big Daddy review
Jim
if you haven't heard
Carrey and Big Daddy.
it. Okay, well you
I
explain why me is thinking about it, Ash.
Um, I mean, Adam is hilarious too. I just can't see him. If you're saying doing it at the full, like doing it just how it was done by Jim in his Adam way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the movie could have worked with Adam. Like, I think he's a good enough actor where it could have worked, but I can't unsee what I saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I could see Jim and Big Daddy, like him clowning the sister all the time, working at Hooters, and
Yeah, yeah.
I could see Jim in there.
Okay.
Like, I could see it.
Yeah. Mia.
So the only reason why I feel differently, because yeah, I could see him doing like that part of it, but I can't really see Jim playing like the slacker, maybe a really young Jim Carrey back in the day, uh, pre Liar Liar, maybe pre Ace Ventura Jim Carrey. But I like Adam Sandler just plays that like
Oh man.
that everyman, even like the way down to the way he dresses,
Mm-hmm.
it's baggy, like just like the unmotivated underachiever. He just pulls that off very well. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I could see him because he's also does a lot of good physical comedy. He's good at like the raw, like using his voice and shouting. I could see him doing Fletcher and doing a good job.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like Jim Carrey does a better job than I think Adam Sandler would do in Liar Liar, but I think Adam Sandler would do a better job with Liar Liar than Jim Carrey would do with Big Daddy.
Okay. So yeah, so we kind of got both y'all on both ends of the spectrum, and I see both. Like Ash, when she said, I can see her keep reiterating the joke and coming up with even more like funnier ways to do it. But you can also see like Adam Sandler, like you can see him in the roast scene in this movie. Like you could see him like, oh yeah, getting real loud. It's like, what about you? Like so that's crazy. I was going to say Jim initially, but the point you it kind of made me kind of see it. And it's ironic because they're both attorneys or lawyers or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of an interesting connection. I think I'm gonna go with you on that, Adam. I think Adam on Liar Liar because you're right. I never really seen Jim Carrey as like an underachiever, and I think that's like a big selling point of Big Daddy. You kind of have to rewrite that a little bit. So, but I was really close. But I'm going to Adam. I could see him doing the attorney thing. I could see him having the crazy interactions, being a hell of a liar. So yeah. Ash, how big was the claw growing up?
Pretty big. I mean, for Max,
Yeah.
um, like me watching it, I don't remember like me being like into it,
Oh, okay.
but like that was a selling point of his like bond with Max in there. So I think it was their thing, you know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously we saw what's his name?
Fletcher. or
What's the dude's name? The boyfriend?
Jerry.
Jerry.
I got him in my notes. Jerry. We saw Jerry try to pull the pointer out. You know what I mean?
All
The
right.
index joint on it.
Oh man.
That is not
I mean,
nowhere
he pulled
near.
out the hook. He didn't pull out the
But it was
claw.
huge.
Yeah.
All right, boy.
Boy, if you don't stop.
Like, you're embarrassing me.
Like,
Yeah.
got a lot. I got Jerry. I got some things for him. But anyway,
Okay.
it was just like a bond between them. Like, whether it be your dad or your mom or whoever, like sometimes you guys have your own like insider,
Mm-hmm.
and no one can match it. And I think that was like a beautiful dynamic between Max and Fletcher.
Big G.
I don't really have much to say about the claw.
Okay.
It was a very Jim Carrey thing. It was
Mm-hmm.
just something that I feel like I knew him for,
Mm-hmm.
but I have thought. We'll get
Okay. Yeah. For me, the claw was like a real essential. I remember like that was one of the things when I think about this movie, I always think about the claw. Like I don't know why it's in the lure of this movie. And it kind of was like a thing was like when I did start to have children, it made me figure out like what's my thing. You know, I don't know. I may have had a thing at one point or another, but it's just one of them things where it definitely made me think about that. So yeah, that's why I brought up the claw. Definitely was like a thing or whatnot. My next question here on our thoughts. Did y'all remember Fletcher getting back with his ex-wife? Did y'all remember that? I guess I didn't remember that. Okay, well we ain't gotta spend time. We ain't gonna spend time on there. Did y'all find it interesting? And I throw it in your court first, Mia. Did y'all find it interesting the archetype of a dad? This dad is similar to Miss Doubtfire, and the fact that Anne Haney played in both movies, which was his assistant, which is also was the one that was trying to figure out. Remember when she was trying to figure out how to make her face look? Yeah. I was like, oh, that's another connection
Oh,
there. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I got deep in this joint, huh? Did you find it? Did you feel like there were similar dad archetypes? Oh no, okay. All right. I asked you, did you feel any similarities at all, or you feel like,
No, not really.
Hmm.
No. But I do have something to add if in this section too.
Yeah. Go ahead, throw it out there. Well, I'll say, I did think so initially. I was like, oh, okay, they're both kind of like these funny guys, but then I think I realized it's like, okay, no, he's just more of a liar, finesser, and the dad from Mrs. Doubtfire, he wasn't. I was about to call him Alan. That's from Jumanji. But it wasn't really the same. Like it was a little bit different. He was just more of the funny guy, voice actor. So at first I thought initially on Onslaught, but I was like, nah, I don't think so. But anyway, go ahead, Ash. Throw in what you had.
So tell me if y'all noticed this or not. My husband pointed this out. At the end where Fletcher's like on the stretcher. If you guys notice before they get to Fletcher, there's a guy in a firefighter outfit, and he's like just doing like did y'all notice that? That's Jim Carrey. And he was doing his homage to his Living Color character when he was Marshall Bill.
Oh no.
That was a deep cut.
So I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch.
That is crazy, bro.
No.
We were watching it. Tyler was like, is that Jim right there? Because it was like everybody's normal in the crowd, and he's in this firefighter outfit, just like smiling and like gritting his teeth. And yeah. If you look it up, I think they have a picture of it, them pointing. Yeah. So I was like,
now that's dope.
I'm gonna bring that up on the pod.
That is dope. Fire Marshal, was it Dave, Dan, or something like that?
Fire Marshal Bill.
Bill. Okay, I knew it was one of those. Yeah. Um, watching this movie back in the day when we was kids, did y'all think during birthday, like blowing out birthday candles, wishes come true? Did y'all ever think that at all? Because I watched this, I was about to say, I had to got it from here.
Yep.
Yeah. Ash, did you ever think that at all, or that didn't cross your mind?
What, that your wish will come true?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. This movie was a heavy proponent for me. I everything else I used to say, make a wish, and you didn't see it come to fruition. But this, the fact that he really
Yeah.
couldn't lie, what made the difference for me. Uh, so, oh wow,
I got.
super deep cut, bro. Um,
And he had the bruise on his eye, so I knew that was Jim. I'm like, oh, that.
yeah, that's good. Lastly, for me, how good were the bloopers? And Dick Shaw, like, you know what? Matter of fact, let's just save it for the end. I'll save it for the end.
Okay.
That seems more fitting for the end of this discussion. So, all right, so we're gonna get into the movie now. We're gonna kind of get into some things that we wanted to bring to the forefront to talk about, laugh about, acknowledge, however way we see fit. So, Mig G, what's the first thing you want to kind of get into when in regards to this film?
Oh man. Fletcher, Fletcher, Fletcher. Fletcher as a lawyer. I only had three things that I put on my list. Fletcher as a lawyer, Fletcher as a father, and Jerry.
Jerry. Okay. All right. All right. Shoot. What? Get into one of those.
Okay, so the thing that stood out to me the most watching this is how differently I feel about his character. Like, of course, I as a kid, you're watching this and like you're always gonna root for Fletcher. He's like the protagonist. We want him to win.
Mm-hmm.
But watching it back, I'm like, I kind of hate him. And I really would like it just made me so bad that he got his way in the end. I just was like really offended by it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a lawyer, the first thing we're introduced to is like that he's a liar because Max is at school and he's in his career day, and they're like, my dad is this, my mom is this. And he said, my mom's a teacher, my dad's a liar. And she's like, no, I think you mean lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see another lawyer refusing to take this case because he's like, I'm not going to lie. Like, we don't have a case. And I refuse to lie. I'm not going to represent. And she's like, okay, we found somebody who will. Fletcher. And not only is Fletcher, he's a great lawyer because he's a pathological liar and
Mm-hmm.
he's willing to do whatever it takes. And like you see him walking into the office and he's just phony towards everybody.
It's a phony.
He's super fake. He wants to make partner and he puts his job above all else.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed within the first like 30 minutes, mm, yeah, I'm gonna feel way differently about him
Mm-hmm.
going forward.
Okay. Ash, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I had that too, as far as like Fletcher as a lawyer is just crazy, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, just another situation, kind of like another dynamic of where the son really loves the dad and, hanging on to his every word and just continuing to be let down. And then the mother is having to pick up the pieces, make excuses. So it's kind of just another, it seemed like we always have some movies that have this dynamic, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, he was willing to do anything to climb the ladder, like Mia said. And just constantly losing time with your son. Like there, like you said, there was times where he was just doing the most. I mean, like the birthday party, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Like that just took me out. So I
My
was like, "Are
goodness.
you freaking serious, bro?"
You're clapping
Um,
cheeks on your son's birthday.
Like you miss your son's
Cheeks
birthday
that you
party so that you can sleep with the partner at your firm. Like,
But you don't even have
how
like a
many
yeah.
custody, like there's not even like a custody arrangement. You just on visitation for real. She probably ain't got
years?
you on child support at all. You know what I mean? She give you so much grace and bruh.
Like,
Uh,
what
He
is
was definitely for self gain, just really selfish. Like I
yeah,
noticed
absolutely.
watching this time around, yeah, it's super selfish. And yeah.
like
Mm.
he picked Max up the first day before his birthday, and he's like, we're gonna go do this after work.
Was it going to
We're gonna
was
do
it horse riding or ice
wrestling.
hockey or
It was
something?
wrestling.
Oh, wrestling. Okay, I'm way
Yeah.
off. Okay.
He wanted to
That's what
take a, and he's like, we'll go. We just got to stop at the office. And then he brings in all these files. He's like, oh, we're not going, are we? And it's like, you are just constantly letting this child down,
And, bruh.
constantly letting this child down. And I'm like, hey,
Maybe
the
maybe
mama
Max is
bear in me
jigsaw.
is like, girl, stand up. Because you ain't going to have that many opportunities to break my child's heart. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, just like it's just a little tidbit that I got is just within that element of it is it's like really just that opening scene. You know what I mean? Like when Fletcher leaves the courthouse, we get this early sense that he defends the bad guys, which is an interesting character trait, I find. And then when he gets to the courthouse to pick up Max, he's late, but he's charismatic with the claw and even making Audrey laugh. So you kind of getting these little early remnants of what things were, which is why I drew a little bit of comparison to the Mrs. Doubtfire comparison. So um, but then Jerry pulls up and almost looks like he could be Fletcher's brother, which I felt like was a really interesting taste or touch, rather. Uh, but he's like the antithesis of Fletcher. Like he's the good guy version of him. And which I feel ties back to, Fletcher defending the bad guys instead of good guys. And he asks, and there's just this part that he asks, have you been doing the do, basically? Hey, that's an old phrase right there, Ash. And she tells him straight up, like, we've been dating for 7 months. What you expect? Like, what you thought? It's not.
Yeah, but we know Jerry is not putting it down. I'm
It
Yeah,
sorry.
don't matter.
yeah. Hey, I mean, Jerry, he's a good
I'm
listener,
just
so he's gonna
saying.
follow the directions. If he listens to her,
Nah,
she could coach
Jerry's
him
just
up.
like a pleaser.
He could
Jerry
coach
is a
Oh,
her.
he's
Yeah.
pleaser.
Oh,
definitely
absolutely. He's definitely like, yo, what? Tell me what to do, and you could coach him up and get his potential.
definitely
He could definitely
he's
get there. Like,
definitely following the leader for sure.
absolutely. Like,
Not to get too out of pocket. Now, Jerry's not gonna put you through the mattress, but
no,
he gonna do what needs to be done
yeah, but
on the
he'll work.
front
He'll
end.
work towards that if that's what you desire. Like
Do
that's
whatever needs to be done.
like Jerry will definitely like if because Jerry was really self aware. Like he was a self aware dude. Like he knew what time it was. He knew kind of the dynamic. He was trying to pick up the things. He was just he was a nice guy with no edge.
And
And
you never know. Sometimes them nice ones be real nice, but you know.
oh yeah, they pull it. They pulling overtime, huh?
True. That is true.
Get you
That is
somebody that
true.
can do both. Uh, all right. So we can go a little further into more stuff about Fletcher and him
Well,
being. Oh, what was you gonna say, Ash?
yeah, I wanted to talk about how we were introduced to Jerry. That's what
Okay.
I want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll go into that. Like, yeah, because Jerry could be
Because I
wrapped
think
up
it's a
pretty.
good
Yeah.
right. But like you said, it's kind of like the opposite of Fletcher. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's Audrey's boyfriend, and like I said, that's why I was like, it was already kind of a setup the way that we were introduced to him. So like out the gate, like Mia said, Max said his dad is a liar, right? And then when we get to see Jerry, he's instantly like, "Oh, I can't break that promise I made to Max." So I think Audrey said they had to do something. He's like, "Well, I can't break the promise to Max to play catch." So
Mm-hmm.
instantly he's putting Max first out the gate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then when he saw that the gift that Fletcher didn't get Max, but pretended did, was a baseball mitt, he was like, he immediately wanted to play with him. He's like, "Oh, I got mine in the car too." So he's like, we can pretty much throw with each other. And so I'm just saying, like, it's just the setup of like, dude, your man's over here, it's not on his job. Jerry's over here like putting Max first out the
Mm-hmm.
gate. So I was just like, I see where this is going. I see what y'all doing here. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Justice for Jerry.
Well then let's
Justice for Jerry.
let's dig more deeper into that Jerry. So what are y'all being women, also being mothers, what is going through Audrey's head kind of like? Is this like a typical thing you feel like for like a single mother where it's like, I mean, of course you're dating or whatever, but that's but like he kind of checks all of the boxes, but he's still blah. We see that they go on a date and she's bored out of her mind, clearly, with him, and but he wants to marry her, take her to Boston, and she got some hesitancy. Um, what do you think it is? Because this is always an interesting dynamic where, and I'm just on the outside looking in, but like where women is like, he's a good guy, but it's not enough, kind of. So yeah, walk me through kind of this Jerry and Audrey thing, because she obviously ended up taking Fletcher back when we get to the end of the movie, but I think Fletcher knows some things, but walk me through a little bit of the, that's the only way that can you feel it? Can you
Start this
feel
one,
it,
Jerry.
Mr. Compost? I know it's a different movie, but uh shout out to Jim Carrey.
Well, I don't think that she was really, again, they've been divorced for like 2 years. I don't think she was ever really over Fletcher. I think he forced her hand because you were just doing a shitty job, right? Of being a husband and being an attentive father. So I think at that point she was just like, I'm done with it. But again, what Drake said, I can still get you. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the vibe that I was getting when she was around Fletcher. Like she didn't hate him. It wasn't turmoil, right? It was still like a cool little
Mm-hmm.
situation. But you were just being such a bad father. It's like, bro, I can't do nothing with you if you're not doing right by our son. You know, that's just out the window.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if I have feelings for you. But when but he was born. Like, and I just feel like he was laying it on really thick. And I have something in our section for later about Jerry that I
Okay.
would say. But he definitely was a solid guy. Y'all been together 7 months and y'all been intimate. You know what I mean? Trying to get intimate, baby. So, but it's like maybe that part is trash because I mean I didn't feel any romance with them at all.
Nah, it wasn't none of that. I felt
Just
like
felt like he was around. He was cool to Max and him. And not to say that we saw romance with Fletcher and her, but it's just like it was nothing there like that they showed on screen. So I'm like, and for it to be 7 months in, it's like you would expect to see, a little more. But yeah, like he should have known out the gate once he proposed to her, and she had a huge hezzy on it. Like
oh yeah,
if I was him, I'd have been like, oh, she definitely don't want to marry me. Like
pop the
it's not a
balloon.
timing issue. It's like, dude, I'm just not. I'm just not into you like that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But That's just my thoughts.
Mhm.
Jerry better than me because you and Fletcher deserve each other. Like, girl, you're like justice for Jerry. Here's the thing: we know that Fletcher was a cheater because she says it in one of my favorite lines in the movie. You know that he's the absent father, like he's, a liar. His moral compass is all off because of the work he does.
Exactly.
So then you have Jerry, not only like he does what he says he's going to do, he cares about your kid, he treats your kid well. He's not even bad talking Fletcher. Like when he sees the gift that Fletcher got Max and he's like, "Great gift, dad." And
Hmm.
he's still encouraging that even though he knows, because the boyfriend always knows that the dad ain't really about shit, but he's still fostering a positive relationship between himself and Fletcher, even though Fletcher's always really crappy towards him. He's, offering honesty, all that. But again, you can't force what's not there. If the chemistry's not there, if it's not there, it's just not there. But that is the fault of Audrey because one, I also don't think she was ever really over Fletcher, but also she probably needs like at a certain point, it's because we all want somebody who's charismatic. You want to be with somebody who's going to make you laugh, who's going to, light your fire a little bit, but you also have to have integrity. There are certain things you can't sacrifice just because of chemistry and romance. Like and I felt bad for Jerry in the end because he really never did anything wrong. And I felt that, and it's in, the later section of the film, things that I didn't think they got right. But I just feel like there was a missed opportunity here for a more realistic and a more positive impact at the end of the film with a different ending.
Hmm.
Because I just feel like what are we really like? What message are we sending here? Because a good guy like Jerry, this is a definition of the good guy finishes last
Yeah.
because he really didn't. And she was so like she was, and it wasn't even just that, it was how she was kind of treating him towards the end, when they were about to go look at houses in Boston and she's like, I need a drink. And he's like, Are you okay? And she's just being, kind of cold towards Jerry. I feel like that just wasn't the way I would have done it.
Hmm.
Of course, I'm not the filmmaker, but there was just something that I felt like there was an injustice done towards that character. And I really liked Jerry's character. Yeah, he was corny and like Fletcher said, he was Magoo.
Hmm.
But but there is a place for that type of energy, that golden retriever energy, as I say.
Hmm.
And when you're a single mother with a child, you probably want to lean that way towards
Hmm.
somebody is not gonna just add more trauma to you and your child's life.
Um, I think with Jerry, I feel like she liked him because he liked her son, and she's looking at it, this. This looks good on paper. On paper, okay, he's handsome. He's doing some things with his life. He got a job that wants him to move on the East Coast. On paper, all of these things fit, but when you get to the realization of it, it's like it's not there for her per se. He's probably seems like she's been dating. He's probably the closest to being there, but again, she wasn't over Fletcher. I feel like with her and Fletcher, I feel like maybe he was in college, going to school to get his degree in law, And things weren't always this way. As far as before Max, it's like, okay, he was this charming dude. He might have been the life of the party, but we had a real love. We had a real thing before our son came into it, and you got too big for your bridges. You started defending big time criminals, and you just kind of left me and Max behind. And you just kind of did the bare minimum to keep finessing it. So I feel like there was something there. I mean, obviously, this movie's not meant to be that deep, but I feel like I think when we get to the end of them kind of trying again, I feel like there's this underlining thing of like what things were like before Max came into the picture, and like just how terrible your transition of fatherhood has been. Because Max was what, turning 5, 6? What was it? 8?
I
I want to say 6 or
Yeah, I don't
something.
think he was as young as 5, but I don't think he was as old as 8. So I would say 6, maybe.
Somewhere in between there. Okay. So I feel like that. I think it is just one of those things where, as you grew in your career, you grew more distant in your fatherhood, and you realize like the bare minimum is not enough, because like you might have got that off with Audrey, because she seems like a very patient woman. I got that off, but you knew you can come through and like romance, and you still had that spark versus the blah like Jerry. So it's a tricky thing. This movie does a great job. If this movie was did in a different way, and this in 2025, you could take it a whole totally different direction on like that kind of romance and stuff. So, anything else y'all want to speak to about Jerry before we move on? Yeah. I will say too, Jerry should have known though. Like she showed him everything, but he knew I feel like he just felt like he bagged him one. Like he got one. Like she probably like back in high school was one of them ones. He happy to have her, and he was just like kind of like suspended disbelief of like the signs she was showing, and that happens sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm happy to be here. I'm just will you mold me? Will you mold me, ma'am? Like that's Jerry's energy, pretty much, And I think that's why he was holding on so tight to finally he knew at the end, like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, all right, go on, get your family, bro. Like, so, and then a funny thing, Fletcher just tell him like, hey, how's my wife? Like crazy. Such a douchebag. All right, let's get into Fletcher and him being an attorney. Ash, what are some things that you got as far as Fletcher and the career path he's on? We'll conclude obviously with the father side of Fletcher fully, but I think it's worth getting into that side because that's probably the most entertaining part of the whole movie.
Um, yeah, I mean he came off cheesy at the gate too, like when he was walking in, saying hi to everybody. Like, you phony. These are people that you don't even like. You're talking about them in your head, like, out the gate. So it's like, Fletcher, hey, everybody like, I'm like, bro, it's cat. Clearly, again, there for self gain, trying to make partner. His assistant is pretty much doing all the work for him, just about, and still underpaying her. You know,
Mhm.
as we come to find out down the line. But I didn't really have too much about him being an attorney, other than, of course, I have the roast session on here where after Max made his birthday wish and he couldn't lie anymore, and then, well, we did have to talk about how he was banging. Was she like, who was she to him? Like, is that just a colleague or is she a partner, like a
Well, she was one of the
superior? Huh?
she was one of the partners at the
Oh,
firm.
okay. So, which he hated her, right? And so yeah, they end up getting busy. You missing your son's birthday again, trying to make her squeal. It's crazy. Trying to do that to try to be a partner, right? Help you move to the goal that you're trying to get to. Then she brings you in to represent this awful woman,
Oh my god.
and you're spewing out more lies, and she's being more honest in that moment. Like, oh, you cheated. He's like, you cheated one time or something. She's like 7 encounters, and he's just still trying to find a way to make it fit for the win, right? Like you said, the moral compass is off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're a lawyer, but you don't have to be a liar, right? You can be an honorable lawyer and, do things the right way. But I know it's a fine line with that stuff because you got whoever you're defending, but
It's not what you know; it's about what you can prove.
exactly. So, I mean, he's trying to find ways to impress old girl, and
Mm-hmm.
she's feeling it. She looked like she want to get busy with him. Like
Hey,
you talking
hey,
my language.
hey!
Like
Listen, that's what I'm talking about. See
she got
those little nuggets
that
of who
voice,
Fletcher is. Like
and
that's the
that
voice I was talking
whisper
about.
voice.
That voice I was talking about.
Jennifer Tilly,
Yeah. What
she has
movie?
an iconic voice.
Yes, it was another movie I was talking about. That '90s raspy. We did a
You
review on it.
were, I forgot.
I can't remember. Anyway, I don't want to mess up your thoughts. Sorry.
She said she had that. Yeah. Okay, I remember
Let me
that.
look at the list of movies we did while you talking, Ash.
Um, I mean, that's kind of all I had. Like I said, the roast session was
Mm.
hilarious,
Oh
and it
man.
wasn't even about the jokes he was saying individually. For me, it was when he got to the end and he started laughing in her ear. Like I rewinded that part like 2, 3 times. Like that was the funniest part. It wasn't even like, and then when he slammed the toupee on the wall. That was funny. And then he gets to the end because she thought she was finna set
Yeah.
him up to get
Yeah.
the boot. And then turn out dude is feeling it. Like he's rocking with it. See you later, dickhead.
He laughed in her ear. That was so
Oh.
The
funny.
laugh in the ear is my favorite part. He
Oh.
was really like getting to it.
Oh my gosh, that is so good, man.
That was so funny, dude. But yeah, that's all I got, man.
Okay. What about you, Mig G? What are some things you got about Fletcher being in his career as a lawyer?
I think that it was interesting to see the change, like once he couldn't lie
Mm-hmm.
and the way he was represented because Jennifer Tilly's character,
Big Daddy. It was the love interest from Big Daddy. She had the raspy voice too.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, you did say yeah, okay. What's her name? Samantha.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how he started off when he was talking to her. You're the victim. So what you had an indiscretion and blah blah blah. And how she was initially trying to give, her husband joint custody of the kids because she's like, he is a good father. And then throughout the trial, or and he can't lie to defend her. So you see more and more how horrible she is. But and I live for a good courtroom gotcha moment in any movie. So the
Absolutely.
realization that she was underage when she got married, so she couldn't have entered into the prenup anyway, and he still won. But to see his realization after in that moment where he's like, wait, no, this isn't right. Like, because, and then when she changes her mind about the custody, that is such a heartbreaking moment that I don't think registered for me much as
Oh
a,
yeah.
like, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's trash. But like now, as an adult with children, seeing that was super heart wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
The way she was treating her kids, she was
Mm-hmm.
terrible. And then just deciding to fight for custody just for the child support when you just won $2 million was just blew my mind. And seeing the kids being ripped away from their dad was just such a sad moment. And you could see that that was kind of an aha moment for
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher, where he's looking at this dad who's fighting for his kids, and he's like, "Oh wait,
It
I can't
brought it
do this
home for him.
anymore. Like this is really wrong." And even like when he was talking to Greta and she was talking about her friend who's got robbed and ended up having to pay the robber He's like, I could have got him, like, she
The
said he had to
honesty, yeah.
pay $8,000. I could have got him 10. And you see the type of person he was and the type of people he defends, and it makes you wonder. Again, I get it. There's an arc at the end of the movie. It's a movie. You're going to get a redemption arc. He comes to his senses, and I hold myself in contempt. And
Mhm.
now he's had a change of heart, but I guess I just don't feel like it was earned enough for me.
That's how I felt when we did losing
Losing
Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Yeah, I felt that exactly. I was like, I still don't feel like you. Uh, I thought Fletcher was like a really brilliant lawyer. Like, and I thought Jim Carrey pulled it off. I know that this is not so heavily focused on it because this is a comedy movie, but just like how he sold her Samantha on like that whole thing, and then just even his boss was into it, and then when the honesty wish came into effect, and how he still was able to like Mia said, to find a technicality, and even just like bruh, trying to get out of this because it's like, bruh, I can do this if this is tomorrow. I just need to get outside of this 24 hours of this honesty uh wish. And he never factored in that the judge would ask, can you still, do you think you can still do this? It's like, and anybody knows, like, no, I'm sure nobody's a liar on this show. However, for those that don't like to lie, but if they ask you the question, you hate to get caught up in the lie because you really like, dang, I don't want to lie. This is one of those moments. It's like, okay, you kind of pushing to get out of there. Like, okay, look, you see I'm beat up. That should be enough indication. Don't even ask me. And then the fact that the judge still asks, he's like, do you think you could go on? He's like, yes. Like, bruh, because he was really genuinely trying to get out of this. Like, which I thought was one of the most interesting aspects of this movie is it's kind of a supernatural thing where I know it's not that deep of a movie, but it's this supernatural thing happening where he can't help but to be honest. And so now he's trying to fight against the honesty. He's like, the color of this pen is, he's trying to break it, but he can't because it's already set in stone. So the fact that he can't properly defend his defendant because he needs to lie to sell it, he has to beat himself up. I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? Like, doing all of these things because if I can do this, I can still be honest. But hopefully the judge won't ask me. And the fact that he did was just like, it was just a brilliant. That whole last scene in a there was just brilliant. Him pouring a bunch of water. He knew if he poured water, he can go to the bathroom. The light bulb was going off. It was just a really good thing. Again, this movie is not heavily focused on that, but it was really good. I mean, obviously the elevator scene where he's talking about the lady's breast, and everybody's so nice to me. That's because you got big jugs. That is like, anyways. But yeah, I thought it was a brilliant attorney, and just like you said, Mia, like when you see that, it really resonated when I seen that father, like, golly, and she's like, come on, like she was like, get his stuff, get him ready, like she was definitely like save the last dance, like but so I thought he was a brilliant lawyer, but I thought it was all full circle with the honesty and him doing that. And I think even once we get outside of this movie, I think that he will no longer defend, if he stays practicing law. I don't think he would defend any of the bad guys anymore. I think. Lastly, let's get into I guess the fatherhood of Fletcher. Any notable things that you want to bring to the forefront, Ash?
Yeah, I mean, Max, shout out to Max. He was so cute.
I
And
know.
his little voice, like, oh, it was breaking my heart. He was so sweet. And he just wanted to be with his dad.
Mm-mm-mm.
It was, and then shout out to the music, like the people that was in charge of the music. I'm like, every scene is every letdown, they playing this music that's getting me like feeling so sad. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. Every scene got this music that's just really trying to send me. Um, but yeah, like he was doing a terrible job, shitty job. Like you constantly breaking promises, and then you're re-promising new promises to make up for the one you already broke to get him back excited. You know what I mean? So it's like he keeps holding on to that hope that he has that you're going to keep your word. You're going to be there and show up for him. Like, and he just kept not standing on business. And it was making me so mad. And like that moment where he found out that that was Max's wish, and then he goes to the school and pretty much bring this freaking cupcake or cake to get him to like unwish it is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that it ended up playing out where he had to finish that court scene without like it not working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so happy because I'm like, no, like I would have been like, come on. So I love that it didn't work. And then when he was just like, he said, everybody lies. Jerry lies. Your mom lies. And he was like, yeah, but it only hurts when you do it or something. I was like,
You're the
oh,
only one who makes me feel bad.
oh my
Um,
God.
oh wait.
And that voice, he just got that. It's so innocent. Children are so
So
innocent. And it's
innocent,
just
bro.
like, they just want the smallest things. And you just couldn't do it. Like,
Mm-mm.
oh, that broke my
The
heart.
and the excitement though.
Yes.
No, it wasn't that scene, but it was another scene where he
When
fully. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I just thought about it. It kind of triggered to the other scene of like this is the final I'm going to be there moment type. But anyway, go ahead.
he actually, was this after he couldn't lie?
Like
Because
when he
then
ended up
remember
getting
he was
locked
like,
up, he ended up getting locked up, arrested because after the court case.
yeah, yeah. And that's when like he's really coming. He's really coming. Like again, still having this excitement for your dad. Like he loved the hell out of him, even though he's like breaking his heart. And yeah, he was shitty. And when he's like, I'm a bad father. Like, ooh, that deep cut right there.
Mm-hmm.
That truth serum, boy. That right there was definitely a good scene, warranted. Um,
That's real. Just a
yeah.
sidebar. Like I know we're all parents here. Not saying we've ever said out loud, "I'm a bad mother," "I'm a bad father," but there are versions of this that exist. You know, there's a version of this for all of us in a different capacity where you might be like, "I didn't do everything I could have done," you know, or I should have talked to her a little bit more, talked to him a little bit more. There's a version of this, you know what I mean, in our own world. So it resonated for me. But go ahead, finish what you're saying. My bad.
Oh no, you good, you good. Uh, I'm trying to make sure I touched on everything that I kind of had down. But yeah, like even just out the gate when he picked him up, and they were supposed to go wrestling. You making a pit stop at the office. It's like, bro, just go straight to wrestling, man. Like whatever's at the office, you could have done that or went to the office the next day. Like go spend time with your son, bro.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got Jerry over here. Just yeah, he's having fun with Jerry, but it's not hitting the same. He
Nah.
wants it to be Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing that. You're like, oh well, I'll make it up to him tomorrow. I'll pick him up early tomorrow. I'll do it. Like, bro, constantly breaking promises. Like you finna get cut off,
Okay.
like permanent. Like if I'm Audrey, hey, and I'm gonna shut it down.
Yeah, she better go to Boston. Like,
Look, me and my baby would have been in Boston with
mm-hmm.
Jerry.
Shoot, but yeah,
Go stop.
Molding Jerry.
but that's pretty much what I had on the fatherhood and him and Max's dynamic. Max was such a sweet kid,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I just loved him.
Mm.
Oh, and that car phone was a classic. Throw that out there.
Absolutely. I love car phones in movies.
That was
Me,
crazy.
Mia G, anything you want to add to Fletcher and Max?
Everything Ash said, and just Max is just like such a perfect portrayal of kids will always forgive you. Kids love you unconditionally and they will forgive and forgive and forgive while they're still in that innocence, that
Mhm.
childlike innocence before they, you know, get some realizations. Because if Fletcher hadn't changed his ways, 10 years down the line, Max probably would have punched him in the jaw. But it's just to see a and it was like Fletcher was so flippant about it for so long. It was like until the realization that he couldn't lie, it was like he didn't even feel bad about it. He's on the
Mhm.
phone with Max and Audrey while he's about to hook up with Miranda, while knowing they're asking him, "When are you going to be here? It's your son's birthday." And he just did not care.
Yeah.
Was just so set on his lie and doing what he needed to do that his son's feelings just never even occurred to him. And also, when he was told about the wish, his first thought wasn't, "Oh my God, my son thinks I'm a liar." It's, "I need him to reverse this so that I can keep on lying." And that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane.
that is. That's a great point.
And so it's just so what I just felt like I don't know. I don't wanna say that it was irredeemable because, yeah, the lying,
The
the wish,
time frame they kind of buttoned it up was, I feel where you coming from,
like,
like
in
the
a
way they.
day, within 24 hours
Yeah.
of him not being able to lie, now he's had these realizations and
Hmm.
he's a better person for it, but he broke so many promises
Hmm.
to his son within that period of time. Even if he was being honest about it, all the reasons why if in that 24-hour period, it's if you didn't have such a bad history of lying, then all of this could have been like, oh, your dad's just having a crazy day.
Yeah.
He'll be here, but you have set a precedent for yourself of being a liar and being unreliable to the point where now no matter what happens, even if you really have circumstances that keep you away that you can't control, it don't matter because you already have a history of letting us down.
Hmm.
And I feel like again, another thing about the ending that would have been cool is if I'll get to
Is
that.
that's a thing you would change about the movie?
I feel like the whole I wanna say it's the courtroom case, so that it's not necessarily about him as a father, but more about I wish that he would have had more, opportunities to be honest on his own
Okay.
side of the wish making him honest. If it would have been, the wish expired and he decided to still be honest after that in a situation where the stakes may have been a little higher.
Okay, I see where you're going because they showed us that he had to be honest, but it was like it was low. It was kind of a low point. That yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Everything y'all said, man. I don't really have anything else to add as far as the fatherhood or the Fletcher and Max thing. We do see that at the end that they end up working things out, and they thought that, which I thought was kind of cute. Even though, like I said, I'm with me. Like you know, Audrey deserved better, but Max did not wish for them to get back together, so that was an actual draw between them two to get back together. So anything else before we get into our next section of the notes? Anything else that y'all wanted to bring to the forefront? Just some thoughts. Okay. All right. So the new segment we're introducing here is called Lines That Deserve to Be Slimed. And so, with that being said, Ash,
Hmm.
what's some lines that you just run through them that deserve to be slimed?
Kicking my ass. Do you mind? Um, what's up, Fletcher? Your cholesterol, fatty, dead man walking. And then when Max says, my teacher said real beauty is on the inside. Yeah, that's just what ugly people say. And those are lines that deserve to be slimed.
Okay, I like it. Mia G.
So she said all of mine except for one. I only had one other one, and it was actually Audrey when she said, "Well, you have to remember that when we were married, I wasn't having sex nearly as often as you were."
Mm, boy. See, that's what makes it irredeemable with him. Like that line is these little that adds to it. It's like you're a cheater and a liar. But anyway, for me, lines that deserve to be slime. Jerry, enjoy my wife. Where would Tina Turner be if she had rolled up over and said, "Ike hit me again," and put some stank on it, rolling down the river? Uh, I've had better. I've had better. Uh, Stop breaking the law, asshole. And I love my son. I love my son. I thought, again, in a 90s movie, that's expected to turn around or whatever. But I love that, like that joy where it all came together, where we all have an experience like this where you realize it's the little things, it's the simple things that mean more to you than all of this other superficial, things that we got to do. So, and that's it. Those are our lines that deserve to be slime. Mia G,
Yes,
character you relate to or identify with the most?
none of them.
Ash,
Max, um,
same.
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I was such a daddy's girl. Like
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't tell me nothing about my daddy. And similar to Fletcher, made a lot of promises, broke a lot of promises. And I was hanging on to his every word. And a lot of the times he didn't follow through and it did hurt my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely was relating to Max.
I also have Max for some of the same reasons. Obviously, we're siblings. When our parents were separated as a little one, there were times our dad, same thing, make promises and also he was such a salesman, like same as Fletcher. Like he would sell us like he may not come through on the promises, but when he come through, he might do something like super cool that unfortunately, dads get passes that mothers don't get. Where you could do the least amount of things, but when you come through, it's like, oh, it's the greatest thing. Oh, it's his dad because dad is and dad definitely got that off at some point of time when we were kids. So I remember that, and I understand also my role as a father how that works sometimes, and so I try to be very mindful of it when dealing with our children. Ash, character you could get the stepping, character that you could do without.
Samantha Cole, she was terrible. I mean, she was a liar. And then when you pulled the switch on the joint custody after you already won the bread, was diabolical.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely could get the stepping.
Mm. Me, G.
I said Mr. Allen because I feel like we already had Miranda playing the part of like the partner, and we didn't necessarily need another partner character that he needed to win over. It was kind of like he could have just used that energy trying to win her over in other ways. So I felt like he was kind of pointless.
Is that the roast session, dude?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because I
yeah.
mean, like, as far as
It,
like there was like a whole committee of partners. I
Yeah.
just didn't know why his character had to be like, oh, it's Mr. Allen and
it was just it was extended where it didn't need to be.
yeah.
Mhm.
For me, the homeless man. Um, I get what he was supposed to represent, but this movie is just as good without him. Honestly, we don't
Mhm.
need the homeless man, him giving quarters and dropping coins and dollars or whatever. It wasn't really. We didn't need him. Favorite song in a movie? Not really that type of movie. Mia G, things that you would change about the movie or what they didn't get right, in your opinion.
Well, first things first. Um, now this is nitpicky, but typically lawyers don't do criminal defense and family law, and this was a family law case that he was taking on with Samantha Cole. It wasn't
Mm,
like a
good point.
defense. It was more of a like it was a custody battle, so it's not like a criminal defense, and he like you know. So that was weird to me because I was like,
Maybe
okay,
it's the payout. That's the only thing I could assume. Maybe because the payout was going to be so high that they and it
it's
really
like
and it wasn't his jurisdiction either. Remember, they wanted to go up somebody else, and he kind of took on a case that wasn't normally his thing. That's the only thing I
it's
would
like
think.
law firms in general typically have a specialty, like it's a criminal defense law, like but
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no
nitpicky.
doubt, no doubt.
It's just whatever. But really, the thing that I feel like they dropped the ball with was, like I said, I don't feel like Fletcher earned enough of, I don't think his arc earned him getting back Audrey and all. I feel like it would have sent a better message if he would have come to those conclusions still, accepted accountability, and realized that, okay, yeah, they're still moving to Boston, or I have to work a little harder to earn back the trust of my child and his mother and, you know, show uh it was like I would have liked it better if they would have left and it would have flashed forward to, a year from now and he's flying out there to see Max and
Mm.
or maybe they didn't move, but he's shown a consistent amount of time being a better father because it feels like it just wasn't really earned. And then knowing the history of the whole, like him being a liar and a cheater, and when him and Audrey get back together, like it's cute, but I feel like maybe we didn't have to go that route.
I see
Maybe
it.
they
Yeah.
could have just forgiven him and he could have worked on being a better person,
Hmm.
better father, and we could have just ended it that way. Which is again why when we did Mrs. Doubtfire, I really appreciated
Yeah.
the way it
Yeah.
ended because I feel like sometimes movies package things up in a pretty bow, like, oh, mommy and daddy get back together. But that doesn't always send the message that the movie needs, I
Hmm.
don't think. And in this case, I don't think he did anything to really earn them back in that way. Like
Okay.
his son, yeah, because that's his son. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah. But
like,
like the relationship, the marriage,
yeah,
like, all right, that's a great point. Anything else that you would change about the movie?
not that I can think of.
Ash.
Quick question. When did we find out he was cheating? I don't remember.
Uh,
The line I said when um Fletcher asked if
her
Audrey
and
and
Jerry.
Jerry were doing the do, and he said, I would have thought that after being married to me, you wouldn't have any more energy. And she said, well, you have to remember that when we were married, I wasn't having nearly as much sex as you were. So
Hmm.
I thought when she said that, I thought she meant he was like,
no, he was having
you know,
sex with
self
other people.
self
Like, hold on.
gratifying.
No, he was
Nah,
stepping out.
I don't know any woman that's calling that sex. To be honest, like,
I mean, I'm just saying,
no, no,
like
no, no, no. I get you. Even in the '90s, I don't know. You
some
say you
people,
had
that's the
sex
only
with,
way that can, but hey,
He was having sex
having
with
sex with
somebody else.
yourself.
I mean, how do you get to that mountaintop? Anyways, I digress. Um, so for me, Jerry talking like a cartoon character, bro, like it just I think that's what made him even more cornier. Like if he was just talking like a normal guy, like everything was like animated to me when he was talking. Like even just when you're talking to Max, if you want to do that, okay. But even when you're talking to Audrey, it's like very like goofy type. Like the way he was talking is just really irritated me. That's what made him because he's actually a handsome dude. Like Jerry wasn't no
Yeah,
ugly
yeah,
guy
yeah.
at all. But it's like the way you're talking is really just not making me see you in any romantic way.
No zaddy vibes.
No. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Yeah.
Mm. Um, for me, one thing, and this is a crazy statement what I'm about to say, but the airport chase felt too cartoony. And I know this movie isn't based in reality. You know, even the birthday wish, but that kind of took me out of it in a certain it kind of took me out of it in a different way for the certain real element of it. Not to mention that he threw a shoe and it perfectly hit the window of the plane, a moving plane, while speeding and windy. I just feel like you threw one shoe, one attempt, it landed, it hit the plane. Oh, let's stop the plane. It was like, again, 90s charm. This is on par with what 90s movie does, as well as how they buttoned it up, bringing the family back together. But to me, it was a little too cartoony to me. I feel like doing this scene, but just stopping them at the airport, whatever the case is, like almost getting thrown off the plane, like going past customs and all that. That to me been a little more realistic. Like, hey, I'm telling you, I love them. Kind of like Dwayne Wayne, like when he broke up, went to the wedding or whatever, like something like that. I feel like that would have been like more realistic. Him just like flying on the thing and actually slightly keeping up with the plane, knowing how fast planes go. Come on,
Right.
Even with the wheels out.
Ooh, he could have caught a plane and got to Boston and been there, like,
Yeah,
found
that would have been work. Yeah,
to get there and be at the airport when they got there, something like that.
yeah, I'm with you. Like all that you said as far as the investment level, we needed a little bit more of that. So Ash Bash, more of the
Sir,
story in your opinion.
be a man of your word and don't make promises you can't keep.
Straightforward. I like it.
Straight to it.
Mig G,
Straight hood.
you know how I
Mine
like
is
it, baby.
almost exactly like that. I said, "Be who you say you are."
Okay. Again, straightforward. I tried to take a different direction because I feel like it was there. So I'm gonna take the high hanging fruit. Safe doesn't always mean right. And this is in regards to Audrey and Jerry. She knew the whole time that that he wasn't a good fit, but was hoping for that oomph, and it never came. Even Fletcher knew that Jerry didn't have the sauce, and it took for Fletcher to ride a motored ladder car, throw a dress shoe at the airplane window just to keep her from making the biggest mistake she would have made. So safe doesn't always mean right in
True.
regards to the relationship. So that's kind of what that was. So I get it. And it don't mean Fletcher was the choice. I'm just saying in this scenario,
Jerry wasn't
either. That's so. And that is our review. That is our episode, man. But before we get out of here, we always like to leave y'all with our next film. And next pick is mine. And so I teetered a lot between a few films. Do I want to go funny? Do I want to go serious? Where do I want to take it? I'm glad that Ash brought this humorous film for us today, because this film that I'm getting into is not humorous. There will be funny moments though, if you really look at the movie. All right, so the movie that I picked, and again, we don't know what each other picks until this moment. So the movie that I picked is a movie that is a classic. It is the 1992 film South Central.
Wow.
Have y'all seen this movie?
It's been a
long time.
Okay.
I have seen it though, but it's been a long time. Like it'll be almost like a first watch.
Good.
Because it's been so long.
Good. This is and yeah, this is
So
South Central is definitely a different vibe. 1992 LA, y'all put the pieces together. Very interesting film, very interesting take on fatherhood. I wanted to pick something that it's not it's not so everything is not always buttoned up. Every father isn't doesn't come from like such this rich background and know all of the things to do, know all of the steps. You just are sometimes you are a product of your environment, but you realize that you got to make a change, and sometimes things happen that cause that change. You see the bigger picture, and this movie is one of those movies I think we needed to speak about. uh so I'll talk about what was my close second after Mia's pick when we get into our TGIF, hopefully. And we'll talk about movies we considered. That's something I would definitely want to do for our TGIF. But South Central. So let me see. Y'all can find it right now on Tubi. So if
Period.
you're looking for the film, you can find it on Tubi. It's probably on more things, but Tubi's free. So I want to make sure y'all get caught up and check out what we're doing next. But man, thank y'all for tuning in. Man, truly, it's been another wonderful episode. I'm so glad we got to record. I'm so glad we got to do this again. Getting in our Father Knows Best month. Shout out to Mia G. Shout out to Ash Bash. Shout out to the Stoop kids. Thank y'all, man. We got to get in. It's summertime, so we getting closer to our summertime movie month, but we're not there quite yet. So y'all stay tuned. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.